Sekekama ruled the Great Marsh for 10 full years. At his peak, he suppressed wild dog packs to under 5. Even the kings of the West, East, and North bowed to him. He claimed the golden heart of the marsh. A born king, he enjoyed supreme power and devotion, but this bred rebellion, resentment, and malice. Welcome to Universal Species. A visual feast is about to begin. Sekekama remains the decade's mightiest marsh lion. His aura and strength are peerless. A hyena killer, a giant's nightmare. Unlike the young, weak prides, who struggle with buffalo, he leaps directly onto their backs, shattering the spine with one bite, one strike, one kill. Mighty and terrifying, he is cold and ruthless, slaying even his own sons. In his kingdom, any challenge met a bloody end. For the Lion King, a new day means a new hunt. Whatever his gaze falls upon becomes his target for slaughter. His sons must obey his every command. But as the cubs matured, these princes grew ambitious. The eldest is now strong. He believes he can take the throne, while others eat the king's kill. The prince casts a cold glare at the king in the distance. Sometimes he watches the resting king, baring his teeth, licking his chops. This is a provocation. His desire has swollen, but the king knows his mind. Too young, he thinks. He decides to teach him a lesson. With a roar, he charges, pinning the prince in the pool. With a warning roar, the buffalo herd is ahead. The king targets a massive bull. In this world of predator and prey, a force proves anything. The previous warning did little to deter the princes. The king decides to hunt this fat bull. The bull's sheer size and weight pose a real threat to a male lion. The king's sons hesitate, stalling instead of striking. The king bolts like an arrow, lunging at the bull. He sinks his teeth into its back. The bull's spine gives way. It bellows in agony. It spins desperately in the pool, painful and gruesome. Seeing this, the others rush in to join the kill. The king has bitten through the back, exposing flesh and blood. With a final agonizing cry, it collapses into the water. After a few bites, the king leaves, letting out a chilling roar. He is cunning and cautious. To secure his reign, he betrayed his queen. On the territory's edge, he sired cubs with another lioness. This hidden family will be another weapon to guard his throne. But his daily absences, leaving the princes unchecked, have planted a ticking bomb. Fueled by testosterone, they are ready to move. The younger brothers now follow the eldest's lead. While the king is away, the 3 princes go hunting. They feel invincible. The marsh is rich in prey. Food is never scarce. The eldest ignores zebras, elephants, and buffalo. He sets his sights on a calf. The younger the prey, the easier the slaughter. The calf is a delicacy to him. When the king is present, they only hunt mature prey. But that meat is bitter to the prince. It's humiliating. He is now in his prime. Why is he still not the lead? A successful hunt brings him no joy. What he doesn't know is, the king will never let anyone threaten his throne. Long ago, to crush any budding revolt, the king killed the prince's brother, leaving the corpse in the wild. This time, what fate awaits the eldest prince? How will his story end? While the king indulges himself, resting with his mistress, an intruder enters the land, acting as the temporary lord. The prince stands his ground. The intruder realizes he is no match for the prince. He decides to lie low. He crouches and retreats slowly, hiding in the grass under a tree, masking his presence. He thinks he is safe and distant, that the prince will ignore him. But the prince, relishing power, even if it's fleeting, won't let this chance slip. He lets out a low growl, commanding the entire pride, ordering them to surround the intruder. Every lion follows his lead. He has waited too long for this moment of glory. Leading the pride, they trap the intruder. The prince strikes, biting deep into the intruder's belly. The intruder collapses in pain, but he quickly scrambles up. Under the prince's command, they surround him again. Teeth sink into the intruder's back. Others continue the brutal assault. So this is how it feels to be king. The grand power of command. The prince exhales in relief, pure satisfaction. Finally, he orders the intruder to be released at this very moment. The prince revels in the king's role, issuing decrees, even lusting after the queen. However, his fate is about to shift as the king returns to the den. He senses an alien atmosphere. He rushed back to his pride. He sniffs the queen's scent, but finds it tainted by another male. In an instant, his lips curl into a pre-raw snarl. The queen rolls over, explaining, claiming she never betrayed him. But the king is skeptical. He decides to inspect the scent. At this moment, tension grips the entire pride. Then, the truth surfaces. It was the eldest prince. The king had warned him before. Never crossed the line, but he never expected such audacity, such reckless defiance, to force himself upon the queen. In this instant, the king's rage draws all eyes. He strode forward with regal authority. A wave of dread washes over the pride. Yet the prince remains oblivious, still lost in his lustful dreams. But doom is inevitable. One strike, one bite. The king slams the prince down. The prince struggles to rise. His legs fail him. Only the third prince supports him, barely keeping him afoot. Witnessing this, the king charges again, delivering a brutal, humiliating blow, knocking the prince down again, and delivered a final warning. Next time, he joins his dead brother. The prince is utterly broken, unable to stand again. On this day, order and authority are restored. The king's majesty shines again. One must realize, in the lion's kingdom, rule is never easy, and the price is steep. A world of deception, schemes, and cruelty. He must suspect everyone, even his own queen. Over the years, to maintain his dominance, he didn't just kill his sons. He scattered his affections wildly. The lionesses he abandoned are now prisoners of hate, exiled to the North's barrens. Suffering from cold and hunger, food is scarce here. Dinner is often mere birds, even after a successful kill. They must ration the meat, even as it rotted, crawling with maggots. Their only solace is waiting, hoping to topple the king, to avenge their abandonment. All of this, the king ignores. For him, any creature in the marsh is a target for his wrath. His hunt is relentless. However, internal strife is festering. The prince's lust for power is boundless, leading to reckless betrayal. Though punished by the king, acting humble and obedient, seeds of hate are buried deep. Cold eyes watch for an opening. To seize control of the pride, the prince courts the queen, gaining her favor. She accepts his advances. Emboldened, his insolence grows, leading to shocking behavior. The king decides on a harsh lesson. He attacks. The queen intervenes, trying to protect the prince. But the king is blinded by rage. He tears a chunk from the prince, leaving a grievous wound. Healed, the prince and his brothers plot to leave the pride. The king, though displeased, lets them go, wishing them health and safety. But once exiled, life is both easy and deadly. Easy because the prince finally picks the targets. Deadly because their weakness and poor judgment nearly cost them their lives. A massive buffalo catches his eye. He locks onto the target, surrounding it with his brothers. He charges, mimicking the king's move, aiming for the spine, seeking praise and admiration. But he overestimates himself and underestimates the bull. Failure is imminent. The bull is enraged, ready to gore them through. Remember, mad bulls have slain lions before. As the drought arrives, prosperity fades from the central. Migration leaves food scarce. The king is famished, hungry for strong reinforcements. his prayers are answered. The two princes return. For exiles, there are two paths: punishment or pardon. The king welcomes them back, displaying mercy. While securing his marsh domain, he needs their strength. The king leads his army north. The road is long and treacherous. Midst the gnawing hunger, the queen locks her gaze on a brindled wildebeest. Decision made, the queen crouches low, eyes sharp as blades. She sprints in a flanking maneuver, synced perfectly with her pride. The trap is set. The queen lunges, clamping onto the wildebeest's leg. The beast stumbles, struggling, but with one slip, the queen pins it to the ground, crushing it under her weight. The wildebeest bellows, screaming in agony. So many out there. Why me? Seeing the kill is secured. The king rises toward the site, ready for the first bite. But they didn't wait. Rage flares within him. He is the king of this pride. The spoils belong to him first. Only his leftovers feed the rest. Exile changed the two princes. They've become lawless, completely out of control, snatching the king's share. If this insolence goes unpunished, he might be their next victim. The king tolerates no chaos. He prepares to discipline them. As the king prepares his strike, the wildebeest seizes the moment, running away, shouting, "I'm out of here!" Usually if it's gone, it's gone. Because lions rarely waste energy twice on the same escaped prey. But this wildebeest stunt has provoked the entire pride. He just signed his death warrant. Perhaps he wants a human life. Due to the prince's defiance, the meal was nearly lost. The king bans both from the feast. Meanwhile, the hyenas emerge. Meat is in short supply. The clan believes breeding more will make the marsh theirs. But the king won't wait. One night on the journey north, he returns to his old grounds, finding it overrun by hyenas. His fury burns. The king resolves, even if I don't stay, I'll purge these pests as a warning when the hyena queen returns. Her son has fallen. She vows to make the lions pay. Driven by this grim ambition, she seizes the local waterhole, only to face fierce resistance from the wild dog monarch. Blood rivals. The queen and monarch have history. The queen's eldest daughter was once cornered by the dogs and brutally sacrificed. Rage fuels the hyena queen's power. Two relentless forces engage in a life and death struggle, giving their absolute all. In the end, the hyenas prevail. The dogs retreat in shame, yielding the land to the queen. The hyena queen finally rules the former marsh center region. That night, an elephant, exhausted and worn, drops dead by the waterhole. The queen rejoices in silence, as if heaven gifted her this chance. She lunges at the carcass, tearing into it with savage hunger. Blood splatters everywhere, brutal and manic. Flesh flying, fluids gushing. A beastly feast begins. The hyena queen seeks more power, to forge her more strength. She is lost in a manic feeding frenzy. As the hyena queen solidifies her reign over this land, her power continues to swell. Her cubs thrive under her guidance. Her dominion expands, even forcing predators like leopards to keep distance. The hyena army dispatches scouts to watch the wild dog monarch, always vigilant, fearing he might build a new force to threaten her supremacy. But fate doesn't always favor the hyena queen. By ill luck, her scout is spotted by the monarch. Thus, the rival factions clash once more. The queen's scout is driven off, but the wild dog leader is wounded. They must find a new sanctuary to plot their future counterstrike. Yet, the monarch's misfortune never ends. While away hunting, with his adolescent pups, a leopard strikes their home. Mockingly, it hangs a kill in a tree, as if telling the monarch, "This land is mine now. Leave at once." The monarch must lead his pack again to find a new home, but seeds of revenge are sown. He vows that one day, the arrogant leopard will pay. Clinging to their final hope, The wild dog queen finally births a massive litter on this desolate, barren earth. Over a dozen pups, the future of a powerful lineage. The monarch knows only by raising these innocent pups into strong, lethal adults can he rebuild his kingdom on this territory, ignoring all rivals. Fearing no challenge, a warthog falls to the gut rippers. Each round it tries to stand, but in vain. Harassed by the cunning wild dogs, the warthog's eyes burn red, shuddering under the weight of death, letting out endless cries. An anthem of death, a final, desperate struggle. But for the monarch and his queen, it is the dawn of hope. Their offspring finally have food, the first step of survival. The next 3 months are daunting. The monarch understands they must endure this trial for the pups to grow strong. But fate's cruel jests never cease. The hyena queen's shadow looms. This army won't let the monarch easily establish his power. In the pack, the pups are treasured like gold. They are the future of the race. Any pup that falls behind is doomed to die. Against all prayers, 2 pups are lost, vanished into this cruel world. A blow the monarch cannot bear. He murmurs softly, his grief beyond words, calling out but receiving no answer, only silence and confusion. Yet he doesn't know those 2 innocent pups became a lioness's dinner. Their loss will haunt the monarch's heart, deeply grieving. But he has no time for sorrow, because his pack faces a survival crisis. Thirsty pups haven't tasted water for days. The dry season's grip tightens. Their only hope is a waterhole. But this waterhole, already occupied by the hyena queen's army. The monarch leads his pups, approaching the water with caution. He seeks no conflict with the hyenas. Testing the waters, he draws near, hoping for a peaceful resolution. But the hyenas do not yield. Obsessed with guarding the pool, they clearly refuse to back down. The monarch's eyes narrow, his gaze resolute. For the survival of his pups, his mind is made up. He must lead the entire pack to confront this deadly threat. A battle that was destined to be. A war for water and survival. The hyenas are bathing in the pool, utterly unaware that the monarch would return, and with his full strength. Suddenly, his 3 elite warriors, vanguards of the monarch's pack with excellent tactical skills, surround the hyena queen's captain. The captain stares in shock, unprepared for such a decisive counterattack. The battle begins. The monarch's 3 elites display flawless coordination. Working as a seamless team, they seize the opening instantly. The wild dogs join the fray, locking onto the hyena's rear. Their signature, lethal strike. Once it connects, it inflicts devastating trauma. The hyenas try to protect their flank, snarling fiercely, attempting to intimidate the elites. But the monarch's resolve is iron. They strike repeatedly, forcing the hyenas to retreat. The hyena captain struggles on the grass, howling in distress, trying to save face. But the monarch's team has shown absolute dominance. As other hyenas gorge on carrion, they see their captain flee in defeat. They abandon the site, unwilling to remain within this terrifying conflict, knowing if they stay, they will be the monarch's next targets. But the monarch has no intention of letting them go. He continues the pursuit, expelling every hyena from the land. They scatter in panic, forced to leave their life source. After this breathtaking clash, the monarch and his pack finally claim victory, reclaiming the waterhole. The pups quench their thirst. This triumph strengthens the monarch's lineage. Yet now, the Lion King's pride arrives, heading straight for the same pool. The only water for 100 miles, a lifeline for all living creatures, but an arena for the hunt. As the lions arrive, the monarch and hyena queen sense them. They both withdraw, yielding the water, allowing the king and his kin to take their vital sustenance, once hydrated, after the pride drank their fill. The hunt begins. Targeting an unwary warthog, using her superior stealth, crouching low, she stalks her prey, luring it into a deceptive trap. At the perfect moment, She lunges, pinning the warthog. Sekekama strikes, ending it instantly, claiming the spoils for himself. Sekekama's earth-shaking roar intimidates the entire north. Ignoring all warnings, the exiled queen attempts an ambush. Only to be subdued by the king, she retreats in despair. Sekekama is no ordinary beast, even if the kings of North, West, and East united. None can withstand his fervor. In a mere single day, the king has claimed total dominion. Sekekama, the Lion King, favors the massive buffalo, ripping through the ancient hide. Then shattering the spine, the titan falls instantly. The pride gathers to share the spoils. Their hunts grow increasingly brutal. The herds frequenting the water begin to dwindle. Only fools or the brave remain. Scarcity of food forces Sekekama to forage afar, yet the results are grim. Zekedi, the pride's strongest, now defies the king's orders, urging his brothers to rebel, scheming to usurp the throne. But Sekekama the Great tolerates no insubordination. He delivers a brutal lesson. News of this internal discord reaches the wild dog monarch. Seizing the scout's intelligence, he leads his pack forth, ready to reclaim the waterhole. In the pride's absence, Zekedi is forced to withdraw, retreating to find reinforcements. When Zekedi brings the pride back, the wild dogs suffer a heavy blow. All their observers are slain. The monarch realizes his defiance has enraged the violent king. They must flee north for sanctuary, deprived of fresh prey. At the water's edge, Sekekama the Great makes a shocking decision. To hunt a full-grown elephant, Sekekama commands his pride, encircling the giant, escalating the elephant's terror. As night falls, the giant's nerves are frayed. The king awaits his moment. The queen strikes first, her weight pinning the beast. Sekekama shatters the spine. The spinal cord severed. The massive frame buckles, crashing down into the dust. With the elephant dispatched, the pride finally feasts, surviving the harsh drought. Though this hunt displayed Sekekama's peak power, he is aging. Sekekama's star is fading, falling from the summit to the abyss.